I was on the river on the Yak. I was chasing some tailor. I've been out for about 30 minutes and I saw this big load of commotion with birds smashing some bait. Unfortunately, I was beaten by this boat here, and there was about 4 blokes all casting at the fair play to them. They got there first. Looks like they caught a few nice fish as well. I kept my distance and I decided to chuck on a zip bait monsoon breaker so I could, sit a bit far away and still cast into the patch of birds without actually, fouling up with the other guys or getting in their way. I was trolling little hard bodies before. With the stick bait I could cast it so much further. I literally got one, first hook up of putting on the monsoon breaker. So this is a fairly big lure to use in the Swan, but still works beautifully. I did have a single hook on it rather than the 2 trebles, just because it's what I was using last time, and I think it was my detriment here. And I think that single hook also might have needed to be replaced as well and had a bit of wear. The lure was doing well, but when they were breaching, they were shaking out my hook. Happened 3 times, once right next to the kayak and then a couple times after. Right here you see it breach and I lose it. Frustrating. When they breach, there's no osmotic pressure, so they can shake the lure out because their head can vibrate faster. Also, a heavier lure means more momentum to shake out. It's a lot easier to use these lures when you're standing on the beach because you can angle your rod right down. When you're on a kayak, particularly a kayak like this one, it's a little bit harder. But you can hear here I've got a really good hook up. This is the same drag setting as the last one and it's starting to pull off line. I saw the fish and it definitely would have been my biggest of the season by far in the river. It's actually towing me towards it a little. Breached just there and I got a glimpse of it. It was a big bastard. Again, same thing, breached and shaked out the lure. Should have gone with the trebles or a sharper hook. Another thing to consider is that when you're using a bib lure rather than a stick bait, that actual bib will hold the fish a little bit further down in the water as well as you bring it in, so it's less likely to breach. Having said that, you still got to angle the rod lower. The boat nicked off and I just started trolling again, and I was lucky enough to get one on the zip bait riggy. If you look carefully and listen, you'll see the sticky drag. I really need to get this reel serviced. It's a fantastic reel, but it's had a bit of punishment this year, and I noticed last week it was starting to stick a little bit. Lovely tailor. Oh god, I nearly ruined it again. The lure got fouled on the net as I was pulling it in, but I managed to keep him on the boat. Look at the mess there with my 2 lures stuck in the net. Bloody amateur. Lovely tailor though. After losing the first 4 fish, I was just really glad to land one, and I was hoping to make some tailor burgers, and this one was perfect for it. I love my fish burgers. I like to keep them nice and simple, so I'm going to make a homemade tartar sauce here. So I start up with dicing up some dill pickle, and I add that to some whole egg mayonnaise. I'm not doing any crazy measurements here, I'm just sort of winging it. The main ingredients are sort of mayonnaise, pickle juice and lemon, so I just adjust as I go. I add in some chopped up dill here. You can also use the dill out of the pickle jar if you want. I got these polished dill pickles from one of the Italian grocers. Put in a bit of lemon juice. If you got white pepper, put in white pepper. I only had ground black pepper. And then I add just salt. So if you want it thicker, add more mayonnaise. If you want it a bit more runnier, add a bit more pickle juice. It's probably, for what I got here, is about 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise to 2 teaspoons of pickle juice, plus a whole pickle. Just taste and adjust. Now I do the old dip. So in the flour here I've got just salt, pepper and smoked paprika. Put that into egg wash and then panko breadcrumbs. I've chopped the 2 fillets in half and taken out the bloodline. So I've got 2 little mini fillets for each of the burgers. So I'm doing 2 burgers tonight. I'll then put these fillets into some vegetable oil and I lay the fillets away from me so I don't splash all over myself. I don't have a temp control for oil. I basically just use the back of a wooden spoon. When I see it bubbling away, I'll put in the fillets. They initially were maybe a little bit hot, but I'm only cooking them for about a minute each side anyway. I'll then get some brioche buns, put a bit of butter on them and chuck them in a pan. Get them nice and toasty. And then we assemble. So I've got my toasted buns. I put a little bit of the tartar sauce on it here. And then I've got my fillet sitting on some paper towel to take away a little bit of that oil. And then I put 2 of the little fillets on top. I'll then put on some just chopped cos lettuce, just to give it a little bit more crunch, and then I add a bit more of the tartar sauce on top, more thicker layer on the top of it. Nice and simple. You can add some Swiss cheese if you want. A few of the ingredients makes the fish shine though. Beautiful. So delicious. For more Catch and Cook Perth Metro fishing, please subscribe. As usual, feel free to ask any questions in the comment section.